A very warm welcome to you guys yet again for the third round of the World Series in the Front Row Racing League. I'm Dom, and I'm providing you with the World Series broadcast today. But luckily, I'm not doing that on my own because today we've got a familiar face around the paddock of the FRR League, and that is the name of Curly Whirly. How are you doing today?
Yeah, mate, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm not too bad myself. We've got quite a competitive field yet again tonight, with pretty much all the drivers in. There have been some driver changes, but we'll go over that a little bit later on throughout the session. We'll have a look at the drivers that are in though. If you want to take it away, Curly, and start from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, so in the Mercedes this evening, we have Hindle and Lefty Hardtail as a pairing that have had a fairly tough start to the season, so they'll be looking to bounce back tonight. In the Ferrari, our constructors leaders, we've got Conzo and Calzo. Calzo with a dominant win in China. Really impressive performance from him there. In the Red Bull, we've got Will One Win One and Stocky. They've been looking pretty quick so far this season. Then in the Williams, we've got Danny Railton and Gonk 721. In the Force India, we've got Ant69 and Millstar. In the Renault, we've got Jade Rios, who's a new driver, and Laura JB. In the Toro Rosso, we've got SPL Mali Kekech and Valdemar. Valdemar is back from his break away, so this is his first race of the season. In the Haas, we've got Farthba and Uzi. And in the McLaren, we've just got Garfield tonight, as Nuts unfortunately not here.
And then the Salvo leaves us with the admin pick rookie, who is unfortunately not with us today. But as you mentioned, Curly, a couple of interesting names there, a couple of new names there. Who are you looking out for today?
Well, on the new names, I mean, we've got Valdemar returning. He showed some very strong pace, particularly in qualifying last season, the latter half of the World Series. There, he was often on the front row, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on tonight. Also in the Haas, we've got Uzi in reserving for RDB. Uzi was also a World Series driver last season, driving in the Manor, so he'll be really looking forward to this, I'm sure. But we also have a new full-time driver in the Renault. Lord JB had a choice out of the reserve drivers and went for Jade Rios, who also reserved in China. So that partnership clearly is working well, and they've decided to pair up for the season.
So the first female entrant to the World Series paddock, as we're going to get them underway for this third round of the championship. But as I said, first female entrant to the World Series full time. What do you think? Is this lady going to be able to shake the field around?
Yeah, I think so. It was a tough race for both of the Renaults in China. They were both involved with incidents early on, which kind of hampered their ability to show what sort of pace they have. So hopefully for them, they can have a cleaner start tonight. But yeah, I mean, you know, always your first race as a full-time driver is maybe a little bit of a nervy experience. So we'll see how Jade gets on with that this evening. Renault yet to score a point so far, so they'll be looking to get something on the board.
Yeah, obviously, first full-time race. You can say nervy, but at the same time, you could say it releases a lot of stress for Jade. Obviously, securing the full-time drive, which is basically what the reserve drivers, the reserve leagues are for, to secure that full-time drive. And now that Jade's done it, maybe this releases like a bit of stress, a bit of nerves, and we might see a better result than she had in China.
Yeah, it could be that way. I mean, you know, when you're brought into a team as a reserve and you know that there's a space opening it up, it can be that kind of that sort of, well, I guess a trial really. So yeah, I mean that can be a bit of a stressful environment for a driver. I believe we should do a rundown of the standings so far. Do you want to do the driver standings?
I do, but I need to get him up first. So I'll get him up very quickly as you describe the track for us a little bit. And what is it looking like at the moment? And is there going to be the chance of a little bit of rain? I know the chances are very, very rare, but who knows? It might happen.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen rain here in Bahrain. Well, I guess you see it in the name, but yeah, I don't even know if it's possible for it to rain here.
No, I'm not sure.
But unfortunately, we won't actually be able to check the weather, as our third commentator hasn't quite arrived yet. We will have James coming and joining in soon, but Unfortunately, he's not quite here yet. He's busy with work, so he'll be here for the race. But yeah, that leaves us a little bit in the dark for the weather. But I don't think it's too much of a worry at this track.
No, I mean, a man's got to work, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. Anyway, I've got the championship table up right now. We will have a run down the others. We can hear the first cars getting out on track as Stocky is not wasting any time, so is Lefty Hardtail. But I'll run you through the standings at the moment. It's Mali Kekec in the Toro Rosso leading the championship with 40 points, closely followed by both the Ferraris, with Calzo leading that challenge for the Ferraris with 37 points, and then Conzo in third with 36. Then we've got Stocky, the first of the Red Bulls, on 27 points. And then we have Garfield, who has had a very good start of the season for the McLarens with 12 points in 5th. Ryan Hindle in 6th at the moment, the first of the Mercedes guys. Will be disappointed with that start of the season with only 10 points out of 2 races. And then we have Will Win One in 7th position with 8 points for the Red Bull team. Then we've got Milstar in his Force India on 6 points, and so is Mazna in the McLaren. Both of them are sat in 8th position. Then both 10th place drivers are Gonk in the Williams and Lefty Hartill in the 2nd Mercedes, both on 1 point. And the rest of the field, Danny Brilton, Farthber, RDB, Lord JB, Jake Grias, Valdemar and Ants have all got no points.
Cheers to that, Dom. I'm going to give a quick rundown of the constructors' standings just before we have the drivers onto their first lap. So, in the lead of the constructors' title at the moment is the Binman Ferrari. 1-2 performance in China propelled them up to that top spot. In second, we've got Rodbick 57 Toro Rosso. Valdemar rejoining the team for this round, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get a little closer to Ferrari tonight. Then we've got the Blue Balls Red Bull in third with 35 points there. They're in a little bit of a gap, and then it's down to a fairly close battle between Torque of the Devils McLaren, followed by the Lancashire lads Mercedes, and then in 6th place we've got Rearview Bandits Force India with 6 points, in 7th we've got Rocket Ronnie's Williams with a single point, and the 3 teams yet to put a point on the board is a Kiss My Haas, the Sauber rookie car, and the Renault that we mentioned earlier. Who are we on board with, Dom?
At the moment I am following Stocky as he's about to set his first, not set his first lap, he's about to complete his outlap and go for that first flying lap. And Stocky is on the soft tyres. I'll get the telemetry on actually, so we can see what tyres everyone's on. We can see what tyres they currently have fitted. As we see a couple of drivers, we see Milstar on the mediums as we follow Stocky now for his first quick lap of the day as he approaches turn 1. And the camera's not really helping me. There we go, there is Stocky as he goes through turn 3. Look very, very steady. Stocky obviously being I think one of the only, if not the only driver that's running in the World Series League without any assists, because as you know clearly the World Series is an assisted league, or a league that allows assists anyway, and Stocky has decided not to use any assists because he's never ever done it. So what's the reason of putting him on now?
Yeah, I think as well with this game there perhaps is something to gain from turning the assists off. I felt through F1 2016 that the assists were definitely faster than running without them, but on this game, especially with the most recent patch, I think that, to be honest, running without traction control and without ABS might well be quicker than running with those assists on. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see as the season goes on and the battles in the championship heat up, if drivers start turning those assists off and start looking for that extra little bit of lap time. But of course, if you do that, you're always taking a bit of a risk.
Yeah, true, as Mali Kekec sets the quickest time so far with 1:28.6 on the super soft tyres, with Lefty Hartill, Will Win One, Danny Brilton all on the super soft following them, as Stocky is about to complete his lap. And let's see, where can he put his car on the soft tyres in between them drivers? He puts it in second, 29.3. So that puts Stocky in a provisional second place, and if the standings are going to stay like this, which they obviously are not, then that would put Stocky in a great position. But I'm pretty sure Stocky will put in another lap. Knowing Stocky will be able to qualify up front if he wants to. Let's get on board with someone else then, as we have both the Ferraris on board. Who do you want to get on board with of the Ferraris?
Well, Conzo has just backed out of his lap, so let's hop on board with Calzo, a race winner from China. Phenomenal performance from him there. and he's coming through this the end of the second sector now. This is a difficult braking zone as the penultimate corner, but he's done a good job to hit the apex there. It's a really crucial corner that can gain you a lot of time, and then you just got to find this braking point about 100 meters for the final corner. Good job clipping the apex, and looks like a smooth exit for Calzo as he's on the run to the line. And what's it going to be in terms of the time? It is a 28.3 as a banker, and that is yeah, that's laying down a bit of a challenge to the other driver. He's gone 3/10 faster than Mali Kekec, and yeah, that's a really solid banker time.
Yeah, so Cal wasting no time, no tyres at all, and putting in the 28.3, putting him 3/10 clear indeed of Mali Kekec. So this is Cal saying to the rest of the field, you're going to have to come from very far to beat me today. Cal knowing he's a very quick driver, and he's hungry for more wins after that fantastic win. And that dominant win, especially in China. But I'm sure he's got plenty of people, as usually, retired from the session in 5th position with the 29.9. But let's get on board with someone else then, as we have Stocky on his in lap.
Konzo is on a lap. He bailed out of his last lap, wasn't happy with it, but he's on a second lap now on these soft tyres, and that is one thing that going on the soft tyres will allow you to do, is to go for 2 laps if you make a mistake on your first one. So I mean, Konzo, he had a good recovery drive after poor qualifying in China, and I mean, this has really been I guess the story of his career in front of racing, that he just hasn't quite been able to get the most out of qualifying compared to perhaps some of the other top runners in the pits, but then he comes back through in the races. So yeah, I mean, is Konzo going to be able to get up at the front tonight? I think that's something that, you know, perhaps he learned from last season. He did win that championship, went down to the final rounds, but he definitely felt that his qualifying performances there hampered him, and you got to say, in the first couple rounds, it's not looked that good over 1 lap for him so far.
No, but Konzo, obviously, it wouldn't be the first time he's come from the back and snatched a good result. Obviously, Konzo, a multi-time world champion in the World Series, as the only multi-time world champion, with 2 World Series championships to his name, as we are on board with Barber, as he's about to enter his flying lap, as he opens the DRS. And what surprised me, Curly, is that Hindle, usually known as one of the top guys, is still actually in the pits. He's just fitted his soft tyres with only 4 minutes to go. So he decided to only have 1 run.
Yeah, just a single run. I mean, that suggests that, you know, he didn't, perhaps he's feeling very confident going into this session. I mean, if you've got a lot of practice in, you might have that confidence to just do the single run towards the end of the session. But yeah, maybe he felt as if there wasn't too much point of going out and doing, say, a lean run on a set of super softs or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Hindle's had a really, really tough start to the season. You know, I mean, we know Hindle, he's one of the quickest guys on the grid, but he's been involved in lap 1 incidents in both races so far, and found himself from near the front to at the back of the field. So I mean, for Hindle, that he's dropped a lot of points so far in the championship, and he's really got to get some good results now. Otherwise, those other top drivers are going to start to pull too far ahead for him to catch up.
Yeah, indeed. So Hindle still in the pits, but I'm sure we will see him out on the track very soon. As I've seen a Valdemar on his return has put his Toro Rosso in 3rd position provisionally with the 29 nil. So that puts the Toro Rossos in a very good, in a very good chance of doing something this race, with 2 of the cars in the top 3.
Farthba goes P11 with that lap on the soft compound tyres, so he's sitting in the, I guess the box seat for a fresh set of tyres of the race at the moment. Have we got anyone else out on a lap? I think Danny Railton is on a lap. He's currently sat in P10 with a 30.5, and I mean, around here, I don't know, I mean, I think P10 might well be the worst spot on the grid to be in. You're starting on used super softs, and everyone behind you is on new tyres and probably harder compounds, and you don't have the track position compared to those in front of you. So I'm sure that Danny Railton wants to get himself out of this place. I'm getting quite a lot of lag off of his car as he's spun into the wall.
He's put into the wall, so that's Danny Railton's session over. So for Danny Railton, he must hope someone's going to jump him, but obviously there's a couple of quick guys out there. Konzo and Hindle, being the top 2 finished last season, are actually in last for this qualifying so far. As I'll get on board with Hindle for a on-board lap, as Aaron Hindle is about to enter the last corner and start his flying lap. And we're getting on board with Hindle. I don't know if you want to run him through the lap or do you want me to do it?
I'll go for it. So coming along at the pit straight now, DRS point, get that open, and you've got a long time to think about your braking point into turn 1. About 150 meters is where you're looking for. Keep the car to the left hand side. It's important to reach the apex there. Hindle running very slightly deep. This is a difficult traction zone. It's easy to lose the rear of the car through there. I see a little bit of a twitch for Hindle, but pretty well composed. 100 meters on the left here. And just, you don't want to push too far into that corner. It's easy to run deep. Hindle's taking a really nice line through here now. The fast right and then left as Valdemar is retired from the session. So that'll be his qualifying over. This is a difficult braking zone down to this hairpin. There's very little sort of marker, although I do believe Hindle runs the racing line, so that does ease things up a little bit. This is the most difficult braking zone on the entire track, probably the most difficult braking zone in the on the whole calendar, but Hindle takes that beautifully. This is looking like a solid lap from him so far, and we know he's a very, very strong qualifier. He's done a good job to get the car slowed down to that apex. Again, difficult traction zone. This right-hander is completely flat out in these 2017 cars. And this penultimate corner again, good job clipping that apex. A little bit too much curve on the exit there, but he's held it reasonably well. Coming down to this final corner now, it's easy to throw away a lap here. Takes quite a lot of curve on the apex of that corner, but this has been a solid lap for Hindle.
So
where's it going to put him on the grids? P4 on the soft tyres.
So that is very good from Ryan Hindle, putting himself in a very good position for the upcoming race. But we're getting on board with someone else very quickly, as Calzo is on a flying lap, but also his teammate Konzo is still on a flying lap, as is Malik Kekec, Stocky, Lefty Hartle. Everyone's out on track trying to beat their respective times.
Yeah, Stocky's on the final sector now. He's coming to finish his lap, just coming up to the final corner, and this will be his last chance in his qualifying session, as we are now at the end of the session. The checker flag is out, so these will be their final laps. Stocky is running to cross the line. He goes P3 with a 28.8. See if anybody's able to beat that. Lefty is pulled out of his lap. He's abandoned it. Malik Kekec is in the third sector now, coming up towards the line. Sorry, not the line, the final corner. He's done a good job through there. A little bit squirmy on the traction.
I'm not able to switch the driver, so you're going to have to talk me through the rest of qualifying, unfortunately.
Malik Kekec takes pole.
Yeah, what a time.
28.3. Calzo, he's in that final sector as well. Is he up on his time? He needs to find a 10th to get himself ahead of Malik Kekec here in Bahrain. He's quite cautious into that final corner, and
Konzo now running third. Konzo, the Ferraris are in a very good position now.
Calzo takes it.
And Calzo takes pole. Calzo, what a brilliant lap, but 28.2 on the super soft tyres, so this puts the Ferraris in a very good position with a 1 and 3 on the grid with Malik Kekec.
The final driver to cross the line is going to be Gonk, who was sat in 13th but doesn't improve on his time, so that'll be his qualifying over. And I think Lefty Hardtail and Hindle are just parking their cars in the pits, but very, very close up top. Calzo, Malik Kekec separated by just a 10th, and well, I may have been a little bit criticising Konzo's qualifying earlier, but he's done a good job to get himself up into P3.
Yeah, it's looking very competitive so far, but don't count out Hindle just yet. A 29.202 on the soft tyres, as done his teammate, but on the super soft. So Hindle will be one that might be come into play a bit later on in the race, all depending obviously on the start. But what a qualifying session. Calzo under pressure and then putting that lap time in to get himself onto pole. That's a good performance, that.
Yeah, just one other thing to point out, Hindle and Lefty Hardtail, the two Mercedes with the exact same lap time.
I know. Yeah, Lefty Hardtail put his lap time on the super softs, and Ryan Hindle put it himself on that exact same time on the softs. So it'll be interesting to see how the Mercedes can do. Obviously a very disappointing start for both of these drivers, because both of these drivers are podium finishers, and Hindle is a champion and a race winner. So yeah, well, they'll be looking for a better performance than they have done for the last two races. And I don't think 6th position on the softs is not too bad of a position to do that.
Yeah, some other notes here. Just looking at 9th, 10th, and 11th, we've got Yuzi, Jade, and Lord JB, and I think they'll be very happy with those qualifying positions. That sets them in a pretty good spot for the race. So, yeah, I think
Oh,
that's
Stocky's left. Stocky's left the session. So what's this going to mean for Stocky? Can he get back in time?
I mean,
can he get back into the session in time?
That's going to be difficult. He's only got about a minute, I would say, to get back into the session. So, yeah, somebody, one of the drivers just clicked X straight away. They don't want to wait for him. All right, I'll give everyone a rundown of the grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So we've got Calzo and Malik Kekic on the front row, great laps from them. Then we've got Konzo, Stocky if he's able to get back in. Then we've got Valdemar, Hindle on the soft compound tires. We've got Lefty, and then I've got Garfield on the softs as well in P8. Then Yuzi and Jade Rios finishing the top 10. Then we've got Lord JB, Will One, Win One, Gonk, Ant, Danny Railton, Farthba and Millstar making up the rest of the grid. I believe all those from, was it Lord JB down, have a free choice of tyre for the race, so that will be interesting in terms of strategy, what those guys go for. I'll just quickly remind you to skip the intro.
So that is very interesting. What I also noticed, someone has pressed start straight away, is that BDS XJ Rios, the first female entrant in World Series, has actually managed to put their car in the top 10. So that's a very good performance here by the young lady. And Garfield also putting himself in 8th on the soft tyres. Can he continue on? It's a very good start of the season. I guess we're about to find out as the race will be starting in 5 seconds' time. With Stocky, I don't think he's going to be joining back in time, but he might be able to join back and take control of his car from lap 2, as that was in the last game. As I'm not getting the grid just yet. And 69 race up, so we're on board here with Calzo for this start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. 5 lights, and they're away. And it's a slow start from the entire grid, so that might just be on my part, as Malik Kekic has a good start, but Calzo defends immediately. As Konzo will be looking to try and get up the outside of Malik Kekic to steal that second position, but there goes a piece of wing there. I don't know what's happened there, but Malik Kekic takes the lead of the Grand Prix from Calzo.
Got a collision between Konzo and Hindle. They've come together just out of the exit of turn 3. I don't think either of them have got damage, but Malik Kekic and Calzo get aboard with them. They're battling through turn 4 side by side.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Hindle's just been nearly cracked up by Valdemar. And I'm not sure if Hindle's got damage, but he's not looking very steady. I think we might see Hindle back into the pits in a moment, as Calzo indeed has stolen back the lead of Malik Kekic and will now try and build his lead.
Yeah, phenomenal move from Calzo there, taking back the lead around the outside of turn 4. A really beautiful move from him. There's a lot of wheel banging between him and Malik Kekic, both fighting hard, but it looked like fair racing to me. Solid start from Konzo as well. He's maintained that position, but Hindle, I'm not seeing damage on his front wing, so he should be okay. And he's gained a couple positions off the start. He's from 6th to 4th, but a fast starter at the moment is Yuzi, has gone from 9th all the way up to 5th, so phenomenal start from him. He's battling with Garfield in the through the penultimate corner, and looks like Lefty is getting interested in this as well. They might look to go 3 wide here. Lefty's going up the inside of Yuzi. He's having a little look down into the final corner on Garfield as well. He's not quite gotten the move done there, but he's going to be right behind him on the straight, able to get the most out of that slipstream. No DRS yet, but Lefty is going to make a move down into turn 1 as he moves to the outside on Garfield.
Yuzi and Jade Rios in the pit, so Yuzi with that good start coming from 9th to 5th, he might have jumped the start.
Yeah, Lefty in. Oh, there's contact between Lefty and Garfield, and they spun out. And that is Lefty just getting caught up on the rear wheel of Garfield there, and Garfield has lost a lot of places, and so has Lefty, and that is, well, I mean, these two, geez, I mean, Lefty's had no luck this season, absolutely, but yeah, I mean, that was just a little bit.
For Valdemar, sorry to interrupt you, 5-second stop and go penalty as Stocky rejoins, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take control of his car. So that is Valdemar in 5th position, had a good start, but is immediately finding himself towards the back, well, not towards the back of the grid, but he's going to lose positions with his pit stop. So that is unfortunate for Valdemar, as the Toro Rossos currently sat in 2nd and 5th. So they're still trying to battle the Ferraris, but the Ferraris are putting the pressure on with the top 3 breaking away.
Yeah, just another fast starter as well, Millstar. He's up in 7th. He started, I think, 16th. He was quite a long way down. He's on a new set of softs, so phenomenal from him on these opening laps. But Yeah, I mean, Calzo out in front, Conzo in P3, and this will be interesting from the Ferrari guys, what they do in terms of strategy. They've got 2 cars to deal with Malik Ekech, so they've got options there. They've got plenty of ways to pressure him in terms of the pit stops. And just thinking about the pit stops, I mean, what we're going to see from these guys, though we've got Millstar actually having a look on the back of Will One Win One. He's maybe not quite close enough, and we know Will One Win One. He's going to be running low wings. He always does, but Millstar's incredibly late on the brakes into turn 1. He's trying to hold the car all the way around the outside, and he's gotten the move done. He's running a bit wide through turn 3, but yeah, I mean, well, he was incredibly late on the brakes. He came from so far back, but got the car slowed down really well. As Will One Win One shows nose at the inside. Not quite. Bit of an audacious move there, a little desperate, I think, but yeah, this is a good battle. Danny Railton just hopping onto the back of these two as well, although he's really lost control of that car a bit there. Running, well, he cut the inside and then ran wide at the outside there as well, so he's cost himself a bit of time.
As Gonk retires, Gonk got a 5-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and then after that, like literally 3 seconds later, we saw Gonk retire from the section. So Gonk has decided to park the car and leave the track and do whatever he wants to do and have a bit of time off, because the next race will be in 2 weeks' time. As we see, Stocky left the session as well. Unfortunately, cannot take control of his car anymore, so that's not helped the championship campaign for Stocky.
If you hop on board with Ant69, he's having a little look at Danny Railton as Danny Railton runs wide. And yeah, I mean, this is quite close. Ant's going to have an opportunity onto the main straight here. He's going to have the DRS. He's very, very close. Danny Railton is just about getting a good exit off this final corner. He's a little bit of oversteer there. Although Danny Railton, he is close enough to Will One Win One, so he does have that DRS off of him as well. And I've certainly found at this track that if the car in front of you's got DRS and slipstream, it's very hard to get close on the straight.
Yeah, it's very hard to overtake other cars, especially indeed when the other car has got slipstream. Because I found that the slipstream is not as powerful on this game as it is in other games. But the guys are going to have to work their way around that, as Ant69 indeed has not managed to get past Danny Railton, who's on his turn has got DRS of Will One Win One. Danny Railton on the super soft sides, Will One Win One on the medium. So Danny Railton should have the faster tyre and with that the faster pace. But we all know Will One Win One, he's a fighter, and he won't let anyone go just like that.
Yeah, just a note on the trio that I was talking about in qualifying. Yuzi, Jade and Lord JB would have been very happy with their qualifying performances, but it turns out that being in the middle of the grid for them it's worked out horribly. They're currently sat at the bottom 3 runners, all 3 of them involved in some sort of incident in the first lap, and that they've all had to pit. So yeah, unfortunate for that trio, because they had such a fantastic qualifying for them. As Lefty Hardtail's having a little bit up the look up the inside of Farthbub, but he's just too cautious, I think, going into that there. But perhaps he's just trying to set this up for the main straight. I mean, he is on the super soft tyres. Farthbub's on the mediums. Farthbub going for a long stint, and for Lefty here, you know, it's been a rough start for him. He's got to get these moves done now. Farthbub does have the DRS in front of him, but Lefty is closing very, very slightly. He's going to have to get most of this move done on the brakes. He does pull alongside. And Farthbub trying to hold it around the outside, and he'll have a better run through turns 2 and 3, but Lefty has held it. Oh, getting very, very close there. But Lefty is just about inching ahead coming into turn 4. He will have the inside, and there's not really too much Farthbub can do about that on his medium tyres. He's just not quite got the same grip that the Lefty does yet.
No, Farthbub trying to go for the switch back, but obviously the medium tyres just do not offer the grip to go for such a move, especially on someone with super soft tyres. So let's get back at the front. We see Conzo dropping off the back of his teammate and SBL Malik Ekech. So yeah, Conzo just needs to pick up the pace. He might still have damage from that contact with Hindle. Maybe damage that we cannot see.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to think about is, you know, if these Ferraris are going to attempt a one-stop, with them being close together at the front, they're going to have to pit in different laps. So it might well be that Conzo would just be saving his tyres to go 1 lap longer than Calzo. That is a possibility. But yeah, I mean, Malik Ekech is really staying close to Calzo here, and He's putting himself in that sort of undercut territory. He's only half a second behind, so if he was to pit earlier, he would almost definitely get the jump, because the undercut around Bahrain is huge. So we've got Ant69 making a move. Sorry, Danny Reynolds just pulled into the pits, never mind.
Well, still making a move technically, so thank you for the heads up on that one, as we'll get back on board with SBL Mali Kekec. But what I do notice is that on the straights, SBL Mali Kekec has not been able to quite close that gap with Calzo, despite well, having the advantage of DRS. So this is a surprise. So Calzo, I don't know what he's done with his wings, but it's certainly working out for him at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like he's been running low wings. I think another one that's been running fairly low wings is Will Win One. He's pretty famous for that in the World Series, starting on the hardest compound of tyre and then running extremely low wings and holding other cars up. So I imagine we'll see a little bit of that later on in the race once some of the front runners pit and come up behind him. But unfortunately for Red Bull, they've not got Stocky here. He wasn't able to get back in time, so yeah, I'm not sure that strategy they won't be able to use Will Win One to hold people up for Stocky at this race. But yeah, he's going nicely in 7th place right now for being on those medium tyres.
Yeah, it is a very well-known tactic for anyone that's been in a team with Will Win One. I know we did it with Calzo last season, as they were teammates in the McLaren last season. And Will One would just hold up other people in the on the hard tyres, or on the hardest of tyres, and very low aeros, and then Calzo won't be able to well, to get podiums and win races. And I think Will Win One has tried it with Stocky this season, but it's pretty hard to do it when Stocky's not around. So Will Win One at this minute is running his own race rather than Stocky's race. As we see Faber pitting, so getting rid of the mediums, I think. As we get on board.
He's got wing damage. He's got wing damage on the right-hand side of his front wing. I'm not sure what's happened there. He's gone for a set of soft compound tyres. Another interesting thing is Danny Railton came into the pits on lap 6 and put on another set of super soft tyres. That's a very aggressive call from him. Be interesting to see what he does in terms of strategy later on in the race. He's slowly running down Yuzi, who's on the mediums in front of him.
Let's get on board with Danny Railton then, as he's very pacey at the minute, as we see cars going for a move in the background. That's Farper and Lord JB, but it seemed like Farper's got ahead of Lord JB. Obviously with the fresher tyres, so Farper should be able to pull away, as we are still on board with Danny Railton, going through the tricky section, the tricky second sector of Bahrain. And will he go for the move straight away? He won't. No, he's going to wait until DRS range probably, as he will be in DRS range for the second of the DRS straights.
Sorry, something has happened to Konzo. Konzo has dropped a huge amount of time, and he's got a significant amount of wing damage.
Yeah,
and yeah, he's lost that place to Hindle. He's lost a huge amount of time to the front runners, about 12 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see what Konzo does here. Is he going to go for a set of mediums and try and stretch this to the end? No, it's a set of super softs, so he's going for a 2-stop. He knows that he will make that one stop happen now, and well, this is a disaster on 2 fronts for Ferrari. One for Konzo's race, but also for Calzo, who now doesn't have that rear gunner to help him fend off Mali Kekec. So this battle up front right now is looking like really a 2-horse race.
Well, you say a 2-horse race, but never count out Hindle, who's only 5.6 seconds off the lead. So this is not bad. It's not a bad position to be in for Ryan Hindle on the soft tyres. But I guess strategy will come into play a little bit later on, and we'll see what strategies the other guys will go for. As Calzo and Mali Kekec on the 8th lap are still running their super softs. Curly, how long do you think these super softs will take them?
It depends how good you are on your tyres. I mean, if you want to make a one-stop work, you really want to be looking at lap 10. Lap 9 is possible, but you'll be slower at the end of the race. So I think you really want to be getting to lap 10 and then putting on those mediums if you're trying to get that one stop. And I think at this point, is Calzo? No, he's just going defensive to try to break the toe rather than, it almost looks as if he was going into the pits there. But yeah, I mean, Hindle at this point in these soft tires, he should have an advantage in terms of the tires. So he's got to make that count now and start reeling in this gap, because Calzo and Mali Kekec will get an undercut on him. So he's got to try and reel in this gap so that he's not got too much work to do in the final stint. Mali Kekec is really closing the gap to Calzo now. He's only 3/10 behind, so Perhaps Mali Kekec. I know that last season in F1 2016 he struggled a lot with tyre wear, but it seems that he's looked after this set quite well. He's really putting Calzo under pressure.
Yeah, he's getting very close to him now, coming on to the second DRS rate in a minute. And will we see Mali Kekec going for a move, or will he back out of it and try and maybe force Cal a little bit out of position on the normal DRS rate, or the big DRS rate, should I say, as he's a bit too far away now. But will we see one of these guys pit? Because obviously you say lap 10 is the perfect window for the super soft. Will one of these guys go for that undercut at the risk of being slower at the end of the race? I guess we're about to find out, because these guys are not too far away from the pit lane, as we see Yuzi retiring from the session, unfortunately, after having a great start, coming up from 9th to 5th, and now down in 14th, and now down and out of the race.
Yeah, he's just retired in the pits. He had more wing damage, so he must have met a wall somewhere. So
Calzo into the pit and Mali Kekec into the pit, so both of these drivers making the pit call. And this will be interesting to see what tyres will they put on. I'm pretty sure it will be mediums, but will we see a surprise call here?
Calzo goes for mediums. Mali Kekec goes for mediums as well. Is Calzo going to get out in front of him? He does. So Calzo maintains that position in the pits. He's actually made up some time there. But where are these guys going to filter out? They're going to be behind Millstar. They're going to be behind Will One, Win One as well. So this will be interesting. We know that, well, I'm pretty certain that he's running very low wings and he's on the mediums in front of them. So, yeah, I mean, how much are they going to get held up for Calzo? That pit stop has given him a little bit of a gap to Mali Kekec. It's more than a second. He's got to make sure he gets past Will One, Win One quick so that he can maintain that gap, because at the end of that stint it did look as if Mali Kekec was a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so Calzo will be looking to make that break as soon as possible, to make sure Mali Kekec will not get as close to him as he'd like to on the end of the race. Meanwhile, Konzo still quite far behind. I think almost 17 seconds separating Konzo and Calzo. So Konzo's strategy, well, Konzo's damage obviously not helped him with his race, but he might be able to secure third, because Konzo might be in a straight fight with Hindle because of this.
Well, unfortunately, we've had Ant69 disconnect from the race during this as well, and he's unable to get back in. So, yeah, that's unfortunate for Ant. He's had a pretty tough start to the season so far, and his bad luck continues. As we've got, well, Millstar is holding on to the back of Valdemar quite well, and this is something that I brought up in China. Millstar has really impressed me with his pace so far this season, as him and Valdemar come for the pits.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Calzo's about to go for that move on Will One, Win One, his old teammates. He's not struggling as much as I expected him to struggle, because he's gone past him, and well, Will One, Win One's not been able to do anything about it.
Yeah, Calzo looks to have some phenomenal straight line speeds at this race. Is Will One, Win One going to have a look back at him down into turn 4? He has got the slipstream. He's going to possibly have a little look around the outside. No, he just doesn't have the tyre life compared to Calzo. And now, I mean, we saw that Mali Kekec wasn't really gaining much in the slipstream on Calzo earlier, so he may well have a harder time getting past the Red Bull, as he runs very, very wide, too much curb on the inside there, and it's just throwing his car out. So, yeah, this is the moment for Calzo, you know, to get that car in rich mix and really, really push and try and open up a gap.
We're on board with, well, not on board, we're watching the cam on Mali Kekec as he's about to enter the hell that is Will One, Win One to get past to. Let's see how easy he gets on as Jake Rias. Unfortunately, he gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings of corner cutting. So, well, Jake Rias obviously in the last position, but this is not really helping. Getting, Mali Kekec throws it up the inside, and Will One, Win One definitely not expecting the move in that corner, as Mali Kekec forces his way through, really. So I'm not sure if Will One, Win One will have a word with the stewards about that later on. But then again, I don't know if that makes sense for him, because he's not really racing Mali Kekec at this stage.
No, I mean, Malakakech, clearly he's not messing around, he's not waiting for anything, just throwing it up the inside there. I think that's a smart move from him. He lost a lot of time to Calzo in that pit stop, so yeah, I mean, that gap was, what, 3/10 before they came in. It's now 2.2 seconds, although he does have a long time, 17 laps remaining for him to start to close that down. And we did see at the end of the last stint, he was, I think, a little better than Calzo on his tyres, so perhaps for Malakakech, this race will come back to him as it goes on, although Calzo does look to be pulling away very slightly, but only by a tenth or so at the moment.
Let's have a look at Ryan Hindle then, who's still running on his soft tyres in the lead of the Grand Prix, but Calzo being ever so close with 14 seconds separating Hindle and Calzo. So Hindle will most definitely not be able to maintain that lead when he's about to enter the pits. But the question is, where will he end up? Where will he end up? In front of Konzo or behind the Konzo?
Yeah, the two drivers yet to pit are Hindle and Wilwin Winwan. Hindle running these soft tyres, he's going on for another lap. Now this will be interesting for what Hindle does. I mean, we saw last night Mr. Hamilton came in on lap 12 it was for a set of mediums, but yet we had Tempfear go long into the race and then put on a set of super softs. Now I don't know what Hindle's tyres like, but perhaps he's going 13 laps, he might actually be looking for a faster tyre at the end. Depends, you've got to have really good tyre wear to make that work, as Jade has pulled into the pits and retired from this race. I think she had a couple of incidents there and had just fallen a fair way back from having to pit a couple times, so that's unfortunate. Both, well, her, Uzi and Gonk now retiring in the pits, all of them making multiple pit stops for to fix damage, so rough races for them.
Well, all we can say is just unlucky and on to the next one. Obviously this season is very long and we've got a lot of races still to go, 17 of them in total. We've only had 3 of them, so plenty of time and plenty of races to retaliate themselves into this FRR World Series season number 8. As we still see Hindle leading the Grand Prix. It's a lap 13 out of 29. Hindle on the softs and the 3 drivers behind him on the mediums, and Will Win One is the one out of them 4. Out of them 3 medium guys that's not pitted. And what I do want to know, have you sent James an invite? Because I do know he's on. Have you sent him an invite to the party?
I've sent him invites to both party and the race. I'll send him another one to the party
should be able to join us very shortly. As we see Ryan Hindle pitting then on lap 13 out of 29. So this will most likely be a set of mediums going onto the car of Ryan Hindle. As we have a look here, and it is mediums indeed. And Hindle will be finishing the race on the set of mediums and obviously will be quicker throughout the stint than Calzo and Malakakech, who will obviously be running this tyre longer into the race as Calzo gets past. So, I mean, Hindle will be a couple of seconds behind this, but he's not down and out yet.
He's just going to come out of the pits just behind Will Win One, so for Hindle he's got to, I think he's got to hope that Will Win pits fairly soon, but one thing to note, Malakakech has pulled in 1.5 seconds on Calzo over the last couple of laps. He definitely looks like he's got the pace on these medium tyres, and now it's going to be the situation where can he get close enough to make a move. But Malakakech, he's down to 7/10 now, so this battle up front is definitely heating up.
As we can also introduce our 3rd commentator of the evening, halfway through the race joining us, Jamie James. How are you doing?
Hello boys, sorry I'm joining late. Football was freezing, but I'm here now. How are you? How's it going?
Well, you're about to find out yourself as I've seen you join the session. It's our friend Calzo in the Ferrari leading the race. Calzo and Konzo had a very good start initially, going into P1 and P3 in this race, and then Konzo suffered damage and had to pit early in lap 6 for another set of super soft tyres. So that left Calzo and Malakakech out front, and Will Win One doing his classic strategy of not pitting anywhere near this this stage of the race, and he's the only guy not to pit yet, in 3rd.
Calzo just 6/10 ahead of Malakakech now. This battle up front is just inching closer and closer. Mali Kakic well within the DRS range, and he does look to be gaining somewhat on the straights now. So maybe making a little wing adjustment perhaps in the pits. He realised that he just didn't have the straight line speed in that first stint. Perhaps he's gone for something like that, but pressure mounting on Calzo. I mean, this is really the polar opposite from the China race where, well, Calzo was leading there, but he's leading by a long way. Looks like he's going to need a much more defensive drive this evening if he wants to hold on to that first place.
Yeah, Mali Kakic is looking very racy, and the gap now is only 4 tenths between Calzo and Mali Kakic. So Mali Kakic has been able to close this gap further down with another half second. Lefty Hartill from 8th position leaves the session. Disconnects unfortunately for Lefty Hartill, so that puts Lefty Hartill out unfortunately. In his Mercedes, Millstar immediately takes that 8th position. So all the Mercedes that are left is just Ryan Hindle. So we'll be able to, well, he'll be open to bring home at least 4th position. So the Mercedes team will at least have a couple of points on the board.
Mali Kakic just 3 tenths behind Calzo now. I think the move might be coming on this lap. He's very close coming down this back straight, and he's got to get a good launch off of this final corner.
Sorry to interrupt you, Curly. Hindle just hit the back of Will Win One, so this might have caused some damage with Hindle, because you know this game, whenever you tap someone's back, the wing can be damaged straight away. I'm sure you found that out yesterday.
Might have a move for the lead here. Mali Kakic just looking at the back of Calzo into turn 1. Is he going to make a move? He does throw it down the inside very late on the brakes. A little bit of wheel banging between the 2 leaders here. Calzo has actually lost this position, and there was a bit of contact there, and he's not able to fight back through turn 2, although Mali Kakic has just led him through, so that's good to see. Good sportsmanship from these two. Mali Kakic was making a very aggressive dive down the inside there, as I believe Hindle has made his way past Will Win One during that. So though Mali Kakic may have a little look down into the hairpin, Calzo's run a bit deep. He's going to pull alongside in the traction zone, although he's just not quite got that traction compared to Calzo on the outside. But yeah, I mean, this is very close up front. I think Mali Kakic is clearly showing he's got the pace advantage here, but can he find a way past Calzo? Looks so quick on that main straight.
Calzo, very good defender, very good defensive move so far by Calzo. Was Hindle indeed has made his way past Will Win One. I'm sorry you missed that, but there was another move going on, and that was a move for the lead of the race. So obviously Mali Kakic has felt that move was not very legitimate, and has decided to give that place back to Calzo, but it looks like he's going to get another move very shortly. Another opportunity for a move as he lines up Calzo for this last corner. We'll stay behind him and wait for that DRS. As soon as that DRS pops open, it should be Mali Kakic going for that move very soon. But we'll see what the straight line speed is as we are on board with Mali Kakic and Calzo. He's not getting close to him, is he?
Looks like Calzo's running very low wings. I mean, Mali Kakic set that up as much as he possibly could, you know, aiming for an late apex out of that final corner, but Calzo's just incredibly quick on this straight. So I mean, Mali Kakic, he may have to get inventive at some point. Right now might not be the time to go for it, but if he's still stuck behind him in, say, 5 laps time, that might be the time where you start looking for some audacious moves. As Mali Kakic's had a big moment through the fast right left, huge twitch of oversteer as he changed direction there, so that's lost him a lot of ground to Calzo.
Just to let you know, guys, Conzo's just pitted for the soft tyre. It's just come out in a battle with Millstar, side by side, going into turn 4 now, actually, if you want to get on board.
Yeah, I'm on board with it now. You continue talking, James?
Yeah, Conzo on the inside, but it looks like Millstar might have the move around the outside there. And can he do anything about it? No, he can't, and he settles into 8th place. He's on the softs though, so I'm sure he'll be having a go at Millstar on the first DRA straight. Sorry, go back to you guys, I'll let you know if anything happens.
Well, we're going to stay on board with Conzo for a minute, because this is the closest battle going on, with Mali Kakic dropping off the back of Calzo with the mistake he made a little bit earlier, as Conzo is lining up Millstar for a move here on the second DRS straight. His straight line speed is very good. He might have had a word with his teammate about the setup, because both the Ferraris look very pacey on the straight. Conzo makes a brilliant move around the outside, but having to lift because the moment of oversteer, and that makes Millstar go back fast again for P7, and Conzo's going to have to try it all again.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact in the middle of the corner there, pushing Conzo onto that curve on the outside. And well, I'm sure that you could let us know, Tom, that's a pretty risky curve to put your car on. So Conzo being very cautious around there. He's going to try and line up Millstar, run down this main straight. We've seen these Ferraris in a straight line. They're phenomenal. And look at this. He's breezing past Millstar on this straight. A little bit of lag from Millstar on my screen, but Conzo is well ahead. But the braking's on Millstar incredibly late.
Trying to go back at it. Very late move there by Millstar on the medium tyres. Tucked it into the apex nicely, but Conzo just has the superior traction and the superior grip to get out of that corner ahead of Millstar.
And Danny Railton, 10th and 11th down the main straight.
Oh yeah, good shout, Danny Railton, go for the move, go on.
Oh, he's backed out of it late on though. Surprised at that one.
Oh, he's going to have a run down at turn 4 though.
Yeah, he has got a great run into turn 4. Not got straight line speed, but no, it looks like he's got past him. Yeah, he comfortably through there.
Yeah, obviously Danny Railton being on the fresher tyres, so that does make it easier for him.
Just to let you know as well, Garfield did hit in the midst of all that, and he's on a soft.
Oh, he's having to move on Farthba right now along the well, the inside straight. I guess he's just side by side. Farthba running a little bit deep down in turn 10, and Garfield just placing his car on the inside for that left-hander, and he should have the move done. Although he's now defending on the inside for the right-hander. Farthba not giving this up easily, but yeah, Garfield is through and up into P8. Good move from him, just capitalising on Farthba's mistake right there.
Well, Danny Railton has left the session again. Sorry, not again. Has left the session as well. So that puts Danny Railton out of the race too. So the bottom 3, 11, 12 and 13 have all disconnected. So that puts all the drivers that are driving now in a point scoring position.
Geez, I wish that happened yesterday. John is going to get back on board with Calvo and Malakeke.
Yeah, I'm going to get back on board with it. Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, Calzo, the gap was 1 second before. And
Malakeke just lost it.
It loses it.
Oh,
so this is
that was
not
close.
Malakeke just wanting too much at this stage and just outweighing his own pace at the minute. Trying to go as quick as possible, but just too quick.
I tell you what, Hindle in third isn't that far away, and he looks like he is slowly closing the gap. It was about 8 seconds to go leader. It's now only 6. I'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, Hindle obviously pitted much later than these guys. Calvo and Malakeke pitted at the end of lap 9, and Hindle pitted at the end of lap 13. So obviously Hindle is will win one, finally making his pit stop. And probably putting on the super soft tyres as we get on board with him for his pit stop. And super soft tyres, it is indeed.
It looks like he'll come out with a fight with Conzo by the looks of it.
So Wilwon will probably be racing Conzo on the exit of the pits. Conzo on soft tyres that he's not been on for too long. And Conzo puts in the fastest lap of the race. Where's Wilwon going to be in relation to Conzo? Nah, Conzo's ahead.
Conzo's just got him. Yeah,
Conzo's just got him, but remember, Wilwon on the fresh super soft tyres now. So what will Wilwon be able to do about Conzo and Conzo's move up the field?
That's really not easy to say that. He needs to change.
I know, and he needs to change his name. He's probably done this on purpose. I said it in Australia, and I'm saying it now again. He's done it on purpose. We should call him Steve, because people know him as Steve. He's been in this league for a very long time. So as we see Ant's car there ghosting, unfortunately, as Ant 69 disconnected from the session a little bit earlier.
Just to let you know, Lord JB's just in the pits and he's gone from the mediums to the softs.
Let's have a look. He's gone from the mediums for this. That's a weird call though, with only 9 laps to go. With 9 laps.
I think it's just a safe call. I mean, he's quite a long way behind Farthba in P9, but he knows that Danny Railton disconnected, and I do believe that Danny Railton has joined back in, but if I've got my rule book right, I don't think that he's meant to do that. So I think Lord JB making a safe call there, and we'll probably end up getting that point at the end of the day. He's not going to risk anything on a set of super softs now when he's about 35 seconds behind Farthba.
No, you are right indeed there. Go on, James.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, it sounds about right, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if you leave the session in FRR sessions, you're not allowed to join back. Not in the World Series and the World Championship events anyway. The reserve events, it is allowed to do that because it's not really a league. It's just well, a league to try and get you into the into the real stuff as fast.
You got yep, Bartha's got a 5 seconds 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane.
So this might bring Danny Railton back into play then, yeah. Oh,
Well,
sorry,
not
not
just Danny
Danny
Railton, but
sorry,
yeah,
yeah,
Lord JB as well. I mean, he's
sorry,
he's got a little bit of an undercut on Farthba here, and Farthba having that 5-second stop go. He hasn't served in the pits, but that will be applied to his race race time at the end of the race.
Just to let you know, Danny Railton's also in the pits now. He's just missed the pit lane limiter as well, and he's got a 5-second penalty as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Garfield's got an opportunity on Millstar. Millstar running very deep at turn 10, and that's just allowed Garfield to close up a lot of that gap. He's only 8 tenths behind now, and Garfield had a great race in China. I think he had a tough start to this race, but he's coming back through the field. He's on the softs compared to Millstar on the mediums, so yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm not sure if the softs are going to be that much faster than the set of mediums that Millstar's got, but although Millstar, has just made the 1 pit stop, so Garfield with much fresher tires should actually have an advantage there.
Yeah, Garfield looking very pacey at the minute as Conzo posts another fastest lap as Will1Win1 puts in another quicker time. Will1Win1 putting the pressure down on Conzo.
Garfield's going to have a move on Millstar here, and Garfield has some phenomenal straight line speed. Millstar is caught very quickly on that straight, but he's been late on the brakes all race long. He runs very deep into turn 1. Garfield goes for the undercut through 2. He's almost lost the car on the traction through 3, but he's got the move done. Hard by the moment for Garfield, but that's a great move from him there. Just allowed Millstar to run deep and then cut back under him.
You see Danny Railton. Yeah. Go on, sorry James.
Oh, we lost it. It's Danny Railton lost it.
Where am I looking? Oh, okay.
Seen
him there.
You binged it, and he's retired again.
thank you for that, James. He's retired
I think we've seen 3 or 4 drivers have incidents off of that curb on the outside of that left-hander. It really is a brutal curb, so yeah, it's definitely one to avoid. But I think Danny Railton, Conzo, I believe, had a moment there. Malik Hekic as well had a big moment there. So lots of drivers getting caught out by that. It's not just you, Dom.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. It is indeed a curve that you need to stay away from. But it's nice that they tell me now and not yesterday. But oh well, there's 17 races to go, as I said. So a lot of ground still to make.
Driver, you should be doing that. You shouldn't be making those mistakes, mate.
Yeah, that's true, James. That's true. Where did you finish again last night?
I'm sure there was an incident at the start. That,
okay.
Ruined my race.
Yeah.
We won't go over that.
As Millstar pits on lap 23 out of 29, so that's a very late pit stop, isn't it, by Millstar?
Going on for the supers, yep. Going on
for the supers, but if you wanted to go on the supers, the supers can go longer than 6 laps, so that's a bit of a strange goal, to be honest, by Millstar.
I think what's happened here is Millstar has attempted a 1-stop. He's realised now that he's not got the tyre wear, and he's bailed off of it onto the super soft tyres for the last few laps. That'd be the only thing I can think of, but we need to hop on board with Conzo, who's on much newer tyres compared to Valdemar and is reeling him in at seconds per lap. Valdemar on a set of very old mediums right now. Conzo might even have a look down towards turn 11. Is he going to throw the car up the inside? No, he's going to wait for one of the long straights, but Conzo looking incredibly quick at this stage of the race, and I'm not really sure what Valdemar can do here to defend. I don't think there's much.
I think Millstar was actually pity because he actually realised that he wasn't going to get Garfield, and he's got a big enough gap to Bartha to obviously take the pit stop and put on a fresh set of seats off to get the passes.
Conzo with a good exit out of that final corner. He is lining up Valdemar now. We'll see if Valdemar goes defensive. He does to the inside. Conzo again, phenomenal straight line speed. Is Valdemar going to be later on the brakes? They're quite even, but Conzo just around the outside. He's got so much more grip on those soft compound tyres, and he's quite easily through there. So Conzo up into P4 as it's turning into a solid recovery drive from him. But now Valdemar has got to look behind him to Will1Win1. He's on those super soft tyres and is also closing that gap.
Yeah, Rowan Winwell having a great show so far with 6 and potentially P5 on the cards here. But as we see, I'll get him back on board with SBL Malikekech. The gap was 2 seconds earlier, and it's now down to 1.2 with only 5 laps to go. And it's 1.1 now as Malikekech is not wasting any time on his medium tyres whatsoever. Obviously, these guys pitted in the same lap, so there won't be any difference in tyre wear. Obviously, bar that mistake that Malikekech made, that might have put a bit of extra percentage on his tyres, but it's not stopping him from catching Calzo at the minute.
You can just tell from looking on board Malikekech that he's pushing very, very hard at the moment, and we've seen time and time again in this race that Malikekech he gets very close to Calzo and then makes a little bit of a mistake and falls back and then claws the gap in again. And I don't know how often Calzo has been in this position. I know he did half a season in the World Series last year, but I don't know how many times he's been under pressure in the lead of the race on the final lap. So this will be an interesting test for Calzo. With Conzo having a tough race, Ferrari really need these points this afternoon.
I don't think Calzo's ever been into that position where he's leading the race in the last lap and being put under pressure. And it was happened the other way around when he was challenging Mr. Loki around Hungary last season in his McLaren, and ended up winning that race because Mr. Loki thought the finish line was a bit earlier than it was and started weaving. And then Calzo crossing the line a little bit before Mr. Loki and wrapping up his first ever win in his first appearance back then in the Mercedes car. But back to Malikekech, as the gap is exactly 1 second, so will Malikekech be able to get that DRS off Calzo? I don't think you will at this rate, at this lap, but he might be able to get it next lap, and from there on it can go very, very quickly with then only 4 laps to spare.
No, I think he was just 1,000th out of the DRS there across the detection point. So Malikekech is just, you can see he's noticeably losing time on these straights to Calzo. Calzo just opening up a tenth or so along both of those straights. And yeah, these Ferraris have got some. I'm interested to find out what wings they're running. We can probably ask them in the podiums, assuming that they get there. I'll try not to commentate or curse them, but I'm very interested to see that.
I'll just let you know, Will Win One is challenging Valdemar on a pit straight.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. He's looking very good. Will Win One here on the super soft tyres. He goes for a late dive up the inside. Goes very, very deep and forces Valdemar off the track. Not a very nice move, if I'm honest, by the looks of it, by Will Win One. Is he going to let him back past? Not by the looks of it, but that was a very aggressive move. If you ask me, a little bit too aggressive.
I think we'll maybe be seeing a stewards inquiry about that one after the race. Will Win One going too late on the brakes. I'm not sure if he locked up or not, but he ran right to the very edge of the track there, and Valdemar left with just nowhere to go. But he does allow Valdemar back through, so that's some. That's nice to see from Will Win. He's realised he's made the mistake there, and he's given the position back. So, especially when these guys are battling over P5 and 6, it's it's a good gesture to see.
So in the meantime, SBL Malikekech has managed to get in DRS range, being only 9 tenths away from Calzo, and immediately gets a tenth away from Calzo on that straight. But now back to 1 second, and now back to 8 tenths again. So this gap keeps jumping. Obviously with Calzo probably running lower wings, but we'll ask them two in a moment if they make the podium, and if nothing strange happens, because also that would not be the first time that's happened in a FRR race. But Malikekech slowly closing the gap with only 2.5 laps to go. Will he go for a move somewhere around this track? You're 99% sure he probably will for the win of the race, and probably one of his main championship contenders at this minute, Calzo.
I'll just let you know as well, I'm on the telemetry side of things, and Malikekech's actually got a lot less fuel than
Hold on. We're not meant to mention the fuels, just in case the engineers are listening. They're very attentive, so we're not going to go into how much fuel people have got.
Okay, I won't say what they've got. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, the tyre information's okay, but don't want to give away too much of what the drivers are holding. holding. Don't want to give away more information than what the drivers in the game have, but I mean, Mali Keket, she's just within this DRS range again, and with 2 laps left, you know, is Calzo going to be able to hold on here? I mean, at this point, it looks like he's got the speed on the straight, so for Calzo, it's really just about holding his nerve, I'd say, at this point, and not making a mistake. I mean, we know that Mali Keket has won quite a few races in the World Series before. I think he's been in this position before as well, as we've got Will One Win One getting pretty close to Valdemar in the back straight now. I think there's a possibility of a move here for P5. Will One Win One is, well, he's done a good job of closing up this gap again on these super soft tires, and he's right behind Valdemar on this straight. He's incredibly fast in the straight line. He is going to make a move down into turn 1. He does go up the inside of Valdemar, and he's very slow on the apex.
He's just very sensitive on the
pinched himself.
Oh, it's in the back of him. Valdemar lost the part of his wing. Yeah.
Valdemar just with a bit of a moment on traction there, and it's caught Will One Win One out, who had much better traction, and he's just gone, well, kind of into the back of Valdemar. Yeah, I think Valdemar's tires may be giving up a little bit at this stage. He is on the 1-stop, but Will One is, oh man, he's understeering so much with that damage, and that may end his charge. But if we look up front, Mali Keket appears to have made a mistake somewhere. We've missed it, but he's dropped 3.5 seconds off of the back of Calzo, and now he's only 2 seconds ahead of Hindle.
Behind Hindle. So Hindle, will he be able to do something in his final lap? Will he be able to close down 2 seconds? If Mali Keket makes another mistake, we might see a surprise here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. Mali Keket's pitting on lap 9. He's got to take these medium tires 20 laps. Hindle pitting considerably later. So don't write off his tires. Well, Mali Keket's tires falling off the cliff yet, as we see Lord JB letting him through for the blue flags there. It's a good job from JB. But yeah, Hindle, he's edging this gap down a little bit, but maybe not quite enough. He needs to do more.
Meanwhile, Calzo at the front looking very, very steady for this win. Then, well, that must be a hell of a breather. Seeing Mali Keket's falling down 3.5 seconds all of a sudden. So Calzo, if he keeps the car in a straight line on the final corner, which has also not always happened before, as you may remember, James, on a sunny day in Baku in this reserves event.
Oh, I'm confused.
You confused? You not remember Calzo binning it on the well, it's not even a corner really. The last straight really in the lead of the race. So I think he was second actually at that point.
Hindle's taken a second out of Mali Keket on this lap. He's just down to 1.1 now, but I don't think he's out. He's got quite enough time. As we're watching Calzo come around the final corner.
In the meantime, I'm going to be back on board with Calzo. In Season 2 it was Adam 4600 who won the race. In Season 3 it was overtaking Rickster in Season 4, Richie Davey in Season 5, Hybrid Nuke in Season 6, Konzo in Season 7, and his little brother Calzo is a provisional winner in Season 8 here in the World Series of Bahrain, with Mali Keket holding on to that second position, with Hindle rounding off the podium in third.
Konzo having a big moment off of one of the curbs off of the penultimate corner there. Huge moment oversteer for him, so that was a little bit worrying, but he's coming home to take P4. Good recovery drive for him after well, getting wing damage in his first stint and having to convert to a 2-stop. As Valdemar in his first race back this season after having Similitude reserved for him.
Garfield and I was going to say Garfield would look like he was closing down on.
Valdemar up and down a couple of positions here.
Yeah,
so Valdemar having penalties.
Yeah,
he's dropped 2 positions to Will One Win One and Garfield. So in his first race back, well, P5 on track, but he has grabbed P7. Watching Millstar now coming home for P8. And a decent result for him. I think he had a couple issues earlier on and then had to bail off that 1-stop as well. Farthba in P9, and our final finisher was Lord JB, although he was actually a lap down, but he grabs the first points for Renault this season, so good job from him.
So Calzo then winning the race, winning his second race of the season after winning China, and continuing his dominant performance here in Bahrain, as I hope one of you are able to see the standings in a minute and would like to run me through it with this fantastic podium.
James, you want to go for the standings?
I'll go for the results, yeah, not a problem, yeah. As we watch the champagne flow on this podium.
So the Scottish flag,
Under the floodlights.
Scottish flag reigning here yet again in the World Series, and this time under the name of Calzo yet again, with Calzo having to take his first World Series victory. But then again, James, here is the standings. Go on.
Yeah, so we've got Calzo on P1, Malikaka P2, third is in Hindle in the Mercedes, Kondo in the Ferrari in P4, fifth Will One Win One, in sixth we got Garfield, we got Valdemar in seventh, who did pick up a couple of penalties, or was it just one penalty? It was a couple of penalties, equaling 8 seconds. Milstar in eighth, Farthur in ninth. I think Farthur had a penalty as well. Let's have a look. He did. It was 10 seconds. He must have sped in the pit lane twice. Large EB in 10th, and the rest were lapped or have already left because I can't see the names now.
No, the rest didn't finish. So yeah, so unlucky for the rest of the drivers. But yeah, well, in order to finish, I was going to say in order to finish first, you first have to finish. But obviously, there's only one that can finish first, so that does not really make sense, unfortunately. As I hope one of you will invite the drivers into the podium interviews, if you can.
I'm on it.
Yeah, Dom, learn some English.
I'm sorry, mate. I will. We'll try and work it. I will try and improve for future broadcasts, because this will probably not be the last time we'll be doing this all together.
No.
As Calzo, a great race by Calzo, keeping his composure. With being put under pressure like that by Mali Kekec, but Mali Kekec unfortunately not being able to do it and to win the race. What do you think about him?
I'll leave that.
Go on, sorry. No, you go.
I was going to say I'll leave the questions to you two because I only saw a bit of the race. So if I think of any, I'll jump in, but otherwise I'll leave it down to you two.
All right, sweet. As we see Mali Kekec joining the podium interviews with a great second place in the Toro Rosso, and now we just await Calzo and Hindle to join us for P1 and P3 of this fantastic race, eventful race especially, with all the moves and quite a bit of damage for some cars. But Calzo, one of the drivers that managed to keep his nose clean, together with Mali Kekec and Hindle to finish all on the podium. As we still await the drivers. We have Callum joining us for the podium interviews again, and let's hope we have Ryan in for his first podium. Isn't it Ryan's first podium this season, boys?
I believe it is. He had a disastrous Australian race. I'm not too sure what happened in China. But
No, that was quite disastrous as well for him in China. Both races with incidents in the first lap, dropping him from near the front of the field to the back. It looked like he had a reasonably clean race tonight, and he's showing what he can do when he has a clean race and made it to the podium.
Well, you say clean race, but obviously did have a little bit of contact with Konzo on the first lap and dropping him down to I think P7 at that point, or P6. And then making his way back up to the front of the field again. But then again, I think it just might have been the wrong strategy for him, as we now have all the three drivers in for the podium interviews, and I'll let Curly do the word for the first questions.
Yeah, so to our race winner, just before we get started, I just want to remind the drivers, I know you've all been on the podium many, many times, but just to make sure your settings are on allow to be shared, as we'll get started.
I'm no swearing, you're live.
So, Calzo, I want to congratulate you. Your second win, second win in a row in the World Series. This one perhaps a little bit tougher than the race in China. I want to go all the way back to qualifying for the first question. You said a very good banker time, a 28.3, and then in the final moments of the session, Mike Ekich put on provisional pole, but then you beat that time. Talk us through your qualifying, and how did you feel that your final lap went?
My final lap wasn't entirely perfect. I was a little bit down 63 in my first lap. I don't know how I did a 28.3 in my first lap. I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know what was going on. I even said in my footage I didn't know what was going on. But qualifying couldn't have went any better for me.
Yeah, really, really excellent performance there, and it's shown to be a strength of yours so far this season. You had a good qualifying in China as well, and then off the start of the race, that opening lap battle with Mali Kekec really set the tone for the rest of the race, with you losing the lead through turn 1, but then gaining it back through turn 4. Talk us through the start a little bit.
I was absolutely bricking it. Got a decent start, but my turn 1 was pretty horrific. And then Mali went up the inside, and then I was like, well, I'm definitely not having this. So I went up the outside of the next corner. Then we were side by side, had a little bit of bump and grind, and then he submitted to me.
All right. Overdykink, do you have any questions for our race winner, Calzo?
I'm trying to think of any. It's just a good race, but how was that pressure from Mali Kekec in like them last few laps, and how much of a breather was it when you saw he dropped off quite a lot of seconds?
I was confused to why I dropped off in the first place, and then I thought maybe it was really bad tyre because my tyre was absolutely horrific. I think I was on 75 at the end. But yeah, at the last, well, so since like lap 16 onwards, when I got a breather, I was just saving my tyres, and I thought I wasn't going to make it to the end at all. I was actually considering pitting at like lap 22, but I just decided against it, and Matty put me under a lot of pressure, and we both made mistakes. We both went off the track at the same corner twice, and yeah, I'm quite surprised I kept the lead.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't pick because well, you ended up winning the race with it. James, you got any questions for Calzo?
Not myself. I joined right. It just looked like you had a very good race, obviously, from the outset, and apart from obviously the pressure at the start. But yeah, no, good win, Calzo, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you again on the podium.
All right, I'm going to jump in with one final question for Calzo. Winning the race in China by a large margin, you took pole, led most of the laps of the race today, and won it. Do you think that you are the favourite to take the championship this season?
Ah,
That's a tough question, isn't it?
right, as it stands, yeah, but I know that, well, Con needs to get his act together. Ryan's still had his first podium now because his turn 1s have been pretty horrific. Few lagging connections, but as it stands right now, I think I'm favourite.
Ooh, some interesting
Live up
comments
to
here
that
by
expectation.
Calzo. As you indeed take over the provisional driver championship from Mali Kekec, who we'll get to now. So Mali Kekec, P2. But this is the thing that I want to get on with Mali Kekec. When I was in a party with Ryan Hindle earlier playing another game, Mali Kekec joined that party, said, "Hey Hindle, I'm going to win," then left the party, and here we are, and you've not won the race, so what's up with that?
So basically, I think there's a slipstream glitch, and if there wasn't this slipstream glitch, I think I would have won.
But you didn't.
Well,
No, just all jokes aside, your qualifying, I'm gonna start with the questions there. With that lap time you put in, snatching pole position away from Calzo by I think half a tenth, did you think you had it in the bag at that point, or were you expecting another great lap by Calzo or by someone else?
no, I expected Calzas to get back into pole position because I made quite a lot of mistakes on that lap and like lost a tenth or two. And yeah, I knew Calzas is gonna improve because track evolution is very strong on this track, so I knew he's gonna grab pole back.
All right, so onto your race then. You had a very, very good start, getting ahead of Calzo initially, and then Calzo getting back through. Could you talk us through that moment and maybe talk us through the rest of your race briefly?
Well, I'm gonna talk you through the rest of my race. Pretty boring, just going into circles behind Calzo, waiting for a mistake, and then finally when he makes a mistake, I'm 2 seconds behind him, so I don't get past him. So that was pretty annoying. And about the battle, well, basically I defended the inside line, but I was really close to the apex, so I got a really bad exit, and that's where Calzo got me.
So yeah, unlucky then. Curly, have you got any questions for Mali Kekech?
Yeah, Melly, it looked through the race, particularly towards the end of the stints, that you had a little bit of a pace advantage on Calzo. I mean, I know you mentioned perhaps a slipstream glitch there, but I mean, do you consider this a must-win race? Is Bahrain one of your better tracks, or I mean, how are you feeling after tonight? Were you very frustrated, or was your pace somewhat confidence building?
I mean, it is confidence building, but frustrating as well because I think I was full 3 tenths behind him on the main straight, and I wasn't catching him. I just wasn't catching him, and that was pissing me off really.
Well, do you think that might have? Oh, sorry. Do you think that might have to do with the? Do you think that might have to do a little bit with the setup you were running in comparison to Calzo, or do you really think that it is that slipstream glitch?
Calzo, you still running full wings?
Nope.
Which wings are you running?
Interesting.
Classic.
Do you want saying which wings are you running?
Very dodgy wings inspired by Dom's Genesails.
Okay. I was running full wings, so I don't know.
There's a little clue in there for all the detectives right now for something right there. But,
get onto my China video. Anyway.
Mali, I will tell you for a very generous fee.
Yeah.
He will tell you for a generous fee. So. Fee as in money.
I don't know what that means. Generous what?
A fee as in like an amount of money.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you right now. Just say it.
I'm sure you two will be dealing with this business after the podium interviews. We will crack on. James, do you have any serious questions for Mali Kekech?
There's just one really, Mali. What's your account number? No, I'm joking. What caused the 3 seconds at the end? Was it just a mistake, or was it tyre that dropped you off the back of Calzo?
Yeah, a mistake. Wait, I don't know which turn, but yeah, it was a mistake. I half spun but caught it and lost 3 seconds because of it.
No, it's all right. Okay. No, that's fine. That's all I really wanted to find out.
And that's unfortunate.
If you want to.
Yeah, well, me and Curly have both done a driver, so it's up to you to question your favourite driver on the podium, and that is Hindle. So Hindle, third place finisher. James, take it away.
Ryan, well, I only watched half the race, but how did it go in qualifying?
Well, considering I was the highest placed soft runner, it wasn't too bad. I'm considering in practice I was doing 2 times. It was alright. And I was what? Well, it was a bit worrying because I was like P4 and then in like 30 seconds I dropped like flipping 3 positions.
We said language, right, Hindle, come on.
What are you on about? I didn't say anything.
No, so...
man's certainly not hot. Right, so what about the start of the race, Ryan? How did it go for you? Again, I'm relying on someone else to tell me, or yourself, tell me how it went. Cause...
There was a little bit of contact with Conzo, so if you can start with that, Ryan.
What contact between me and Con?
I think it was. Or was it contact between you and someone else? Because you did lose a couple of positions. You did lose a couple of positions from the start, so...
I had a pretty clean start, and then some nonce in a Toro Rosso, I don't know who it was.
I've seen that. It's not the Toro Rosso that's on the podium. I'll give that away. It's not the
Right,
Toro Rosso on the podium.
whoever it was, again, you're not just rookie stuff. You know what I mean? He comes flying. He's T-boned me, and I've gone off the track at turn 4, and I've lost a few positions. So yeah, I wasn't happy about that.
He's done a 10th here.
Well, actually,
Yeah, okay. But anyway, after that, you got back up to fourth pretty quickly, and then from there on, it was a pretty quiet race until the end of the race. And in the end of the race, did you think you had a chance to catch Kekech, or you knew that it was never on the cards?
Well, first I think I had the wrong strategy because considering how close I finished to, I think I was 4.5 seconds off Calzo in the end. And on my first 2 laps on the medium, I held up as well. So and that crash at the beginning. So take all that into account, I think I'd have been up there, yeah. But sure, it was pretty boring until a few back markers, people who disconnected and then thought it'd be funny to join back and then held me up, so he got what he deserved and he got put into the wall.
Curly, have you got any questions for Ryan?
Yeah, just on the point of having a somewhat boring race there. I mean, surely a boring race here is a bit of a relief after the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I still got whacked at the beginning of the race, so I think I don't know what it is. People are just getting a bit excited, but I think they need to calm down a bit. I've never known so many turn 1 incidents. Last season was pretty clean. This season I've been at every start of the race. So, but yeah, I'll start making my way up the standings now. I think I've got about 5 points, so we'll start moving our way up, and then we'll be looking for victories on young Calzo.
Anyway,
I will ask as well about the constructors' championship. I mean, yourself and Lefty teaming up for this season, a very strong pairing. You finished second and third in the championship last season. But it's been a rough start. We've seen the Ferraris and the Toro Rossos pull away from you guys. I mean, going into Russia and the rounds following, are you guys perhaps going to change your approach? Well, what are you going to do to try and pull that gap back in the constructors?
Well, I think most incidents. Well, the first incident that we had was his fault. The second one we've had, they've not really been our fault. We've both been took off by our drivers or disconnecting. He disconnected today, and he was in a strong position with some good points. So I wouldn't say we'd change our approach. Just hope for a bit of a flip of the coin on the luck side.
all right, and then getting back to Calzo, to all the drivers actually. This will be the last question because we've been doing this quite a while now. Do you think that, obviously with Russia being a very, very different track than today's track at Bahrain, do you think we'll see some surprises there, or do you think we'll see the same names topping the standings really? Calzo, starting with you.
I do not like Russia at all.
Yay.
I know it's my debut race when I first came to FR, but I do not like it at all. So a podium there would be nice for me. I have a feeling I know who'll win that race.
A podium would be nice.
Anyway, Mali, do you think do you think the order's gonna change? And do you think we're gonna see some surprises from perhaps the middle of the field?
Well, we're gonna see a lot of penalties, that's for sure. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a lot of penalties.
All right. Ryan,
nicely.
Ryan, you to round it off. Will we maybe see your teammate or Conzo winning a race?
Previous seasons, and what you know others yourself can do. I'm gonna predict that normality will be restored 2 weeks time.
God.
And whatever that means.
Does that mean you'll be binning it then?
It'll probably mean that I'll get took out at turn 1, then get penalised for it.
What it means is I'll crash at turn 1, Malik Kekic will get about 15 penalties,
Oh yeah.
And that was race.
And Connor loses front wing. Hey,
And
go
Conn loses
Con.
his front wing rush and calls Dave that cause pro.
Anyway, yeah, well, that's all to be found out in 2 weeks' time as we are back then with the World Series for round 4 at Russia. And if you've liked this race, if you like this and you maybe want to get involved in this action, drop us a like on Facebook. We are Front Row Racing, and get a message in to the page, and we'll get you racing on a very short notice in one of the reserve events, which run on alternate weeks. So that means the reserve ones will be next Wednesday and next Thursday, with Wednesday being the no assist side, the World Championship. And the Thursday will be the World Series reserve side, the assisted championship, which can bring you into this league, and obviously the Wednesday can bring you into the World Championship league, which is no assists. And then obviously the week after we'll have the main league event around Russia. So if that, I just think that's all, Curly, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's everything.
All right, that's it. So we'd like to thank you all for watching this third broadcast of the World Series. I've been Dom. I've been joined by Curly and James, and we wish you all a very good night.
And a Merry Christmas.
That too.